Imagine earning over $100,000 a year, placing yourself among the top 7% of income earners in America, yet having a negative net worth. Surprising, isn't it? This is not the lifestyle of a true millionaire. It's the illusion of wealth. Welcome to part 29 of The Millionaire Mind, The Lifestyles of Millionaires, Real versus Imagined. The Lifestyles of Millionaires, Real versus Imagined. Thoughts from a Connecticut Yankee millionaire. A joke that struck home. Two friends were walking down a sidewalk when one looked up, saw Mr. Crane coming in the opposite direction. Quickly he crossed the street. Then his friend asked, "Why are you avoiding Crane?" "Because he's a man who's living off his capital." Although few of us Yankees would shun friends for squandering capital, we certainly wouldn't be caught dead doing it ourselves. WHH, PhD. Contrast the philosophy of Connecticut Yankee with Mr. RRP's. Mr. RRP, regional radio personality, is the ultimate consumer. He called me one day and asked if I would be interviewed, and I agreed. He was very persuasive and had a great telephone voice. His show was rated number 2 or 3 in the broadcast area. I wondered why he asked me to show up an hour before airtime, but I found out soon enough when I arrived. He said hello and then got down to his problem. His contract was up for renewal, and he had spent considerable time negotiating with the station's senior executive. He strongly believed that he'd save many dollars if he didn't hire an agent. So he was his own manager. Unfortunately, he wasn't represented by a skilled negotiator. Within 10 minutes, Mr. RRP told me his financial problems. At the time, he had more than $30,000 in credit card debt, which translates into over $7,000 in annual interest payments. This $30,000 balance wasn't unusual for him, either. He'd had this kind of balance outstanding for many years, and often it was more than $30,000. But this was just the first stop on the Tell Me Your Story trip. Mr. RRP earns more than $100,000 annually, placing him in the top 7% of all income-producing individuals in America. What about his level of net worth? Would you suspect that this fellow in his late 30s would be worth several $100,000? Actually, Mr. RRP has a negative net worth. How is this possible? Does he have a large family to support? Is he paying medical expenses for an elderly relative? Did he and his wife purchase an expensive home? Is Mr. RRP paying off all of his education loans? The answer to all of these and related questions is no. He is single. He rents his home, and he leases his automobiles. But that's not where all his money goes, and Mr. RRP is not alone. There are many others with the same lifestyle, and they all have one thing in common. They believe that one must spend a lot of money to enjoy life. Mr. RRP is a hyper spender. It's in his mind and in his habits. He believes that buying certain products and services has a direct influence on one's happiness. Mr. RRP and his group all want to be happy and enjoy life, but there's a problem. He can only do this if his income increases. How should Mr. RRP approach the issue of compensation needs with the senior executive? You probably have an answer that is very different from the strategy he employed. Mr. RRP told his boss what I just outlined, that he was in debt and was unable to make ends meet. But he told him a lot more. Mr. RRP was becoming progressively more worried about the prospect of not being happy, and the only way to be happy is to spend your way into enjoyment world. If you were Mr. RRP's boss, how would you respond to this theme? Your employee needs more money because is broke. Perhaps, as his boss, you'd be more responsive to a theme based on increases in his productivity, but that wasn't part of Mr. RRP's negotiating theme. Should Mr. RRP's boss give him a raise? It all goes back to basic needs. Mr. RRP needs a job, and he has less than zero wealth. He is at the mercy of his employer, not the other way around. It makes no difference that Mr. RRP owns a dozen watches, 2 expensive automobiles, has bar tabs at the top singles bars in town, dines at fine restaurants, and has every conceivable type of recreational equipment. He has no wealth. He is at the economic razor's edge. He cannot live for more than a month or 2 without a paycheck. This is all bad enough by itself, but Mr. RRP went one step beyond in telling his boss about his economic situation. You probably wouldn't give this guy a raise. Even worse, you might start looking to replace Mr. RRP because you may believe that any key employee who is possessed by possessions and consumption cannot be productive. Having a negative net worth can be very distracting and often has a dampening effect on job performance. This is an unfortunate situation for Mr. RRP. He forgot something about life. One does not have to buy products and services in order to get a lot out of it. Mr. RRP's lifestyle is one of shopping and consuming. To him, it's impossible to enjoy the summer without having a jet ski or 2, perhaps on credit. How can he have fun without spending a few hours downing Premier Label Scotch at $7 a hit at a trendy bar? Mr. RRP is overspent, overfed, overdressed, overliquid, overtraveled, over-entertained, and overindulgent in general. It seems that everything he does outside of working and sleeping costs a lot of money. His focus is Mr. RRP and Mr. RRP's problems, and he believes he can spend his way into the club of happiness. Mr. RRP's lifestyle is very different from the activities and interests of most millionaires. He thinks millionaires are even more indulgent than he is, but he's completely wrong. Moderation in consumption and a healthy, disciplined lifestyle are the hallmarks of the affluent in America. Are your lifestyle habits congruent with becoming more and more productive? For most people with the millionaire mind, the answer is yes. For Mr. RRP, the answer is no. Keep Mr. RRP and his lifestyle in mind as you review the activities and interests of millionaires discussed in this chapter. Real vs. Imagined. Let's review the lifestyle activities that 733 millionaires engaged in during the past month. Before you absorb this information, picture in your mind the typical millionaire. Do you think he is very different in his lifestyle from most people? Remember that the millionaires described in this book are among the most productive business owners, senior corporate executives, physicians, and attorneys in America. They also live in many of the better quality neighborhoods. Their homes, on average, are worth $1.40 million. They are well educated. About 90% are college graduates. They have an average annual realized income of over $600,000 and a net worth in the high 7 figures. Outside of working, what do these people do with their time? If you Think that all millionaires are workaholics. You're wrong. Most have a well-balanced style of life, and their activities and interests are not as flashy as Hollywood movie producers and writers in the popular press would have us believe. Would you expect that attending religious services is too common an activity for self-made millionaires? Surely these people only believe in themselves and their ability to generate high levels of income and wealth. Wrong. Maybe you expect that these millionaires would be more likely found shopping at Brooks Brothers or Saks than eating at Burger King or McDonald's. Try again. Keep one thing in mind. Millionaires are extraordinarily successful at producing high incomes and accumulating wealth. Activities that directly relate to these goals, like planning investments and consulting with advisors, normally make up a large part of their activity lists. In many other aspects of their lifestyle activities, millionaires are anything but extraordinary. They have a few habits that set them apart from most of us. The proof is in the data. When people ask me about the lifestyles of millionaires, I have a short answer. The typical millionaire is, in 3 words, a cheap date. In Table 9 to 1, 27 lifestyle activities are listed, along with the percentages of millionaires who engaged in each during the past month. These activities are ranked from 1 to 27 according to the percentage of millionaires who indicated participating in each activity. Table 9 to 2 groups various activities in larger categories. What activity ranks first? Number 1. Socializing with your children and/or grandchildren. Friends versus things. Family interaction is ranked first. Second on the activity scale is entertaining close friends. Remember how much fun you had as a child with your close friends. It didn't cost much to play in the dirt or on the swings with your friends. Millionaires don't spend much to entertain close friends either. How much does it cost to play bridge or have a few friends over for dinner? Not a great deal. It's the interaction with people you care about that's most important. Too many young people feel that real fun has a dollar cost built into the equation. Fun has become a marketing tool for many consumer goods and services. Do you really need to buy a $50,000 boat so you can hang out with your best friend? Can you live for just one more day without a jet ski? If you don't have one, who'd want to be your friend? Is fun only experienced by spending a small fortune at Disney World? Will you fail to make new friends and keep old ones if you don't own a mountain ski lodge? Good friends like you and want to be with you for reasons other than the consumer goods you own. It's important for America's youth to discover that millionaires, even most decamillionaires, don't depend on consumer goods to enjoy life. Their pleasures and self-satisfaction have more to do with their families, friends, religion, financial independence, physical fitness, and perhaps a bit of golf. Look at it the other way. There is nothing more pitiful than a person who has no close friends, no loving family, yet owns millions of dollars of consumer goods. People like that are a very small segment of the millionaire population. In fact, there is a strong positive correlation between the number of people-related lifestyle activities one engages in and the level of one's net worth. It's just as a multimillionaire once told me. He coached his daughter's softball team for several years, and although it was not premeditated, he met many successful parents who were business owners. Some of these people ultimately became his clients. It doesn't matter if you're marketing commercial real estate or Legal services. It helps to be active, to interact with other successful people. Table 9 to 1. Lifestyle activities of millionaires. A 30-day diary, N equals 733. Engaged in activity during the past month 30 days. Activities or lifestyle. Orientation. Percentage. Socializing with your children, grandchildren 93. Rank. 1. Entertaining close friends 88. 2. Planning investments 86. 3. Studying investment opportunities 78. 4. Taking photographs 67. 5. Watching your children, grandchildren play sports 61. 6. Consulting with an investment advisor 59. 7. Studying art or investments 53. 8. Attending religious services 52. 9. Jogging or running 47. 101. Praying 47. 101. Eating at McDonald's 46. 12. 46. 12. Eating at McDonald's and or Burger King. Playing golf. Attending lectures. Attending religious events. Caring for elderly relatives. Shopping at Walmart and or Kmart. Do-it-yourself carpentry 31. Playing the lottery. Shopping at Saks Fifth Avenue. Studying or collecting fine wines. Playing tennis. Shopping via the internet. Bible or devotional reading 22. Shopping at Brooks Brothers. Shopping at Sears and or J.C. Penney. Off-roading via 4x4 45. 13. 43. 14. 37. 15. 35. 16. 31. 171. 171. 27. 19. 26. 20. 25. 21. 23. 22. 22. 231. 231. 19. 25. 17. 26. 5. 27. One tied for this position with another lifestyle activity. Table 9 to 2. Categories of lifestyle activities of millionaires. A 30-day diary. N equals 733. Engaged in activity during the past month 30 days. Activities or lifestyle. Orientation. Religious. Percentage. Attending religious events 37. Rank. 15. Attending religious services 52. 9. Praying 47. 101. Bible or devotional reading 22. 231. Attending lectures 43. 14. Investing. Studying investment opportunities 78. 4. Planning investments 86. 3. Studying art investments 53. 8. Consulting with an investment advisor 59. 7. Lowbrow down. Home. Shopping at Walmart and or Kmart 31. And or Kmart 31. 171. 17. Shopping at Sears and or J.C. Penney. do-it-yourself carpentry, eating at McDonald's and/or Burger King, family, socializing with your children, grandchildren, watching your children, grandchildren, play sports, caring for elderly relatives 35, upscale, shopping or recreation, shopping at Brooks Brothers, shopping at Saks Fifth Avenue, playing golf, grapes in woods, off-roading via 4x4, studying or collecting fine wines, friends and photos, 26, 31, 171, 46, 12, 93, 1, 61, 6, 16, 19, 25, 26, 20, 45, 13, 5, 27, 25, 21, friends and photos, taking photographs, 67, 5, entertaining close friends 88, 2, fitness, jogging or running, 47, 101, playing tennis, 23, 22, individual events, playing the lottery, 27, 19, shopping via the internet 22, 231, one tied for this position with another lifestyle activity. More than just watching. Many jokes have been written about the high propensity of successful people to play golf and hang out at the country club playing tennis. Many wealthy people do play golf and tennis. As a side note, there is a rather strong positive correlation between one's level of wealth and playing golf. Decamillionaires are nearly twice as likely to play golf than high-income, producing non-millionaires. Golf is important to many millionaires. How does its importance stack up against watching their children play sports? Golf comes in second. Even during the prime golf season, only 45% of the millionaires indicated that they played golf in the past month. Golf ranks 13th. Overall, contrast this with another sports-related event. Fully 61% of the millionaires indicated watching your children or grandchildren play sports. A larger percentage of millionaires watched their children play sports, 61%, than played golf, 45%, or tennis, 23%. The significance of watching children play sports is more than their love for the children. About one-half the millionaires surveyed played competitive sports at some time in their lives, even if it was only JV, football or freshman softball in high school. Most of the participants believe they benefited from playing competitive sports. A certain competitive nature may have been enhanced as a result. They learned about the importance of teamwork through these experiences. There is an additional benefit. The data indicate that people who played sports in school exercise more often during their adult years. The health and psychological benefits of regular exercise are well documented. Most affluent parents encourage their children to participate in sports. They believe that it's part of becoming a well-rounded individual, and they spend time watching them play. This doesn't mean that millionaire parents are superior to others or that they love their kids more. It's a matter of the discretion people have over their time and about priorities. There is a strong positive correlation between one's level of net worth and the frequency with which they watch their children play sports. How can it be possible? The hallmark of being wealthy is having control over how you allocate your time. Data from my national surveys indicates this relationship is a strong one indeed. Therefore, It's not surprising that the turnout of parents at after-school athletic events is greater in affluent areas as opposed to blue-collar districts, because the affluent have more discretion over their time than the non-affluent. Since most millionaires are self-employed business owners or professionals, they make their own schedules. Even senior executives employed by public corporations have much discretion over their time. They are given a task, and how they complete it is up to them. For blue-collar workers on an assembly line or driving a truck during game time, work takes priority. The major difference between millionaires and those of average wealth is how they are compensated. Millionaires are usually paid according to performance and results, while most others are paid by their hour, pieces produced, or some other specific constraints on their time and motion. In sharp contrast, economic success is a direct function of being able to define one's own allocation of time and motion. Cheap date. Since you can't be in two places at one time, if you're watching your kids play ball, you can't be shopping at Brooks Brothers or Saks. If you're socializing with your children, even just playing catch in the backyard, you can't be putting money in a slot machine at a casino. This all is part of the cheap date concept. Just look at the numbers in Table 9 to 3. Contrast the percentages of millionaires who reported engaging in various activities. The cheap date activities outpace the ones that cost dollars. It's actually more than an issue of costs. Many cheap date activities actually enhance one's productivity. Note also in Table 9 to 3 that nearly one-half of the millionaires, 47%, engaged in prayer. It doesn't cost much to consult with God, and for a significant percentage of millionaires, their religious faith is a major force in their lives. It's also an important factor that actually underlies their economic and spiritual success, as detailed in Chapter 4, the relationship between courage and wealth. There are several other dimensions to the cheap date concept. Most millionaires are not the do-it-yourself types, especially when a task takes more than a few hours to complete. They know that time is money. The typical millionaire earns more than $320 per hour from his or her main vocation. If they need a shelf installed, it may take an hour just to saw, sand, and finish, not to mention the additional time to shop for wood. Then it takes more time to install it. If it ultimately requires 3 or 4 hours to install a $10 piece of wood on a wall, that shelf actually costs between $1,050 and $1,400 in lost opportunity. It's not only economics that dictates the millionaire's aversion to do it. Your self-tasks. What's the number one substitute for do-it-yourself? Activities. For millionaires, it's playing golf. There is a very strong negative correlation between the time spent playing golf and do-it-yourself activities. Golf can be expensive, considering the cost of club membership, greens fees, equipment, and clothing. But millionaires justify the expenses and opportunity costs associated with playing golf. Table 9 to 3. Cheap date versus costly activities. The realities of the lifestyles of the millionaire's monthly diary. N equals 733. It's not golf. The real game on the fairway is cultivating new customers and keeping current ones happy. Golf ranks 13th on the activity scale, well below planning. Investments, at number 3. Planning investments is an individual sport, and no special equipment is needed. Just ask all the millionaires I bump into at the library. I'm there doing research for my books, and they're waiting in line to review the latest Value Line and Standard & Poor reports. It doesn't cost a penny to get into the library, And you don't even need a library card to gain access to many of the finest investment research vehicles. A 12-month diary. There is some benefit to studying lifestyle activities in terms of a 12-month period because then we can include annual activities like vacations and preparing personal income tax returns. Table 9 to 4 lists 30 lifestyle activities, along with percentages and corresponding ranks of millionaires who engaged in each activity at least once during the past 12 months. Table 9 to 5 groups these activities into categories of similar pursuits. Most of these lifestyle activities are very different from the lavish lifestyles that people imagine. Those are more common among non-millionaires with high incomes than among first-generation millionaires. This same pseudo-affluent lifestyle among the non-millionaires in America explains why most high-living people never become wealthy. When the term millionaire is mentioned, most Americans have visions of a highbrow, high-consumption lifestyle. Ask the general population about the activities and interests of millionaires on an annual basis. Which of the following do you think would rank high? Skiing in the Rockies? Skiing in the Alps? Sailing on a yacht? Gambling at casinos? Taking an ocean cruise around the world? Vacationing in Palm Springs? Attending a Grand Slam tennis tournament? Vacationing in Paris? If you guessed any of these activities, you'd be wrong. They all rank in the bottom half on the frequency scale. Table 9 to 4. Lifestyle activities of millionaires. A 12-month diary, N equals 733. Engaged in activity during the past year or 12 months. Activities or lifestyle. Orientation. Percentage. Rank. 85. Consulting with a tax expert. Going to museums. Community or civic activities. Gardening. Raising funds for Charity 64. Attending a major league sporting event. Trade professional. Association activities. Attending a Broadway play. Attending fundraising. Balls. Vacationing overseas. Attending antique fairs sales. Shopping for original art 42. Playing the lottery. Preparing your own taxes. Fishing. Do-it-yourself plumbing 27. 1. 81. 2. 68. 3. 67. 4. 5. 62. 6. 61. 7. 60. 8. 57. 91. 57. 91. 49. 11. 12. 33. 13. 30. 141. 30. 141. 16. Do-it-yourself plumbing 27. 16. Camping or hiking 25. 171. Gambling at a casino 25. 171. Skiing in the Rockies 22. 19. Vacationing in Paris 20. 201. Sailing on a yacht 20. 201. Mowing your own lawn 19. 22. Attending a rock concert 17. 231. Vacationing in Palm Springs 17. 231. Painting your homes. Exterior 13. 25. Attending a Grand Slam tennis tournament 11. 261. Hunting or shooting 11. 261. Whitewater activities 9. 28. Skiing in the Alps 4. 29. Taking an ocean cruise around the world 3. 30. One tied for this position with another lifestyle activity. Table 9 to 4. Lifestyle activities of millionaires. A 12-month diary. N equals 733. Engaged in activity during the past year or 12 months. Activities or lifestyle. Orientation. Percentage. Rank. 85. Consulting with a tax expert. Going to museums. Community or civic. Activities. Gardening. Raising funds for Charity 64. Attending a major league sporting event. Trade professional. Association activities. Attending a Broadway play. Attending fundraising. Balls. Vacationing overseas. Attending antique fairs sales. Shopping for original art 42. Playing the lottery. Preparing your own. Taxes. Fishing. Do-it-yourself plumbing 27. 1. 81. 2. 68. 3. 67. 4. 5. 62. 6. 61. 7. 60. 8. 57. 91. 57. 91. 49. 11. 12. 33. 13. 30. 141. 30. 141. 16. Do-it-yourself plumbing 27. 16. Camping or hiking 25. 171. Gambling at a casino 25. 171. Skiing in the Rockies 22. 19. Vacationing in Paris 20. 201. Sailing on a yacht 20. 201. Mowing your own lawn 19. 22. Attending a rock concert 17. 231. Vacationing in Palm Springs 17. 231. Painting your homes. Exterior 13. 25. Attending a Grand Slam tennis tournament 11. 261. Hunting or shooting 11. 261. Whitewater activities 9. 28. Skiing in the Alps 4. 29. Taking an ocean cruise around the world 3. 30. One tied for this position with another lifestyle activity. Is this your vision of millionaires and multimillionaires in America? Why do so many millionaires participate in this activity? It may have something to do with the fact that the typical millionaire in this study paid more than $300,000 in taxes on last year's income. Nearly 1 in 5 paid more than $1 million. The rich pay a lot more than their fair share of taxes in this country. Those with annual realized incomes of $1 million or more make up less than 0.1% of the households in America, but they account for about 14.7% of all the income tax collected. Obviously, most millionaires see the benefit of consulting with tax experts. Even a 5% or 10% reduction in taxes is the equivalent of paying for all or a big part of their child's college tuition. Note something else related to income tax. Only 30% of the millionaires surveyed prepare their own taxes, and 1/3 of these are CPAs or tax attorneys. There's a pattern here that's interesting. There is a very strong, statistically significant, negative correlation between the do-it-yourself activities listed and wealth. In rank order according to their degree of significance, these include 1. Mowing your own lawn. 2. Do-it-yourself plumbing. 3. Preparing your own taxes. 4. Painting your home's exterior. Those with lower levels of accumulated wealth have a higher tendency to do all or most of these activities. In sharp contrast, there is a strong correlation between one's level of wealth and hiring a professional to do one's taxes. Perhaps multimillionaires once did many do-it-yourself tasks prior to becoming decamillionaires. As a rule, this is not the case, nor does age account for much of the variation in do-it-yourself activity among the high-income or high-net-worth groups. In fact, there is strong evidence that do-it-yourself activities are substitutes to building wealth. Actually, you are not the first to hear these results. I told my wife about this relationship just moments after examining the computer output. She was not moved by the empirical data. Mrs. Stanley, millionaires, not doing things around the home. What do they do with their spare time? Dr. Stanley, they are involved in activities that enhance their wealth. Mrs. Stanley, enlighten me after you take out the beagle. The most significant substitute of the 30 lifestyle activities listed in the 12-month diary, 1. Stands out as having the most significant inverse relationship with net worth. Playing the lottery. The higher a person's net worth, the less likely he is to ever play the lottery. Outside the office. What high-income producing young person today will probably become tomorrow's millionaire? One who works hard and selects an ideal vocation. But if this person plans to enhance his net worth in the future, he must become involved in certain outside activities. First, work closely with tax advisors and tax-advantaged investment consultants. Then, become active in your community. There is no more noble lifestyle activity than raising funds for charity. Note that nearly 2/3 of the millionaires, 64%, engaged in this activity in the past 12 months, and there was a very strong positive correlation between this activity and net worth. Some may contend that fundraising is an activity for those who are already very rich, the seniors of the affluent population. Or they suggest that raising funds for charity is an activity dominated by people who inherited their wealth. In fact, volunteering time to raise funds for charity is not significantly related to age or inherited wealth, and it's not dominated by older multimillionaires. Nor is it purely the domain of those who are already wealthy. Most of today's millionaires were raising funds for good causes before they became financially independent, and most did it because of noble intent. Good deeds do get rewarded even here on earth. Financially successful people and the next generation of economically productive people volunteer. When they cluster in various fundraising situations, they get to know and appreciate each other. People are always seen at their best when involved in noble causes, and their reputation and integrity are, in turn, enhanced. Over the years of studying successful people, I have discovered a simple rule. If you wish to become affluent, associate with economically productive people. Art, entertainment, and travel. Outside of fundraising, are there other lifestyle activities related to one's level of wealth? The more wealth one accumulates, the more likely one is to engage in art, entertainment, and travel activities. 57% of the millionaires took overseas vacations during the past year. But decamillionaires are even more prone to international travel. 7 out of 10 engaged in this activity. Does this disprove the theory that millionaires only spend money in ways that enhance their wealth? It's logical to assume that vacations are for pleasure, not for business, investment purposes, or tax advantage. Expenditures. But for many millionaires, a vacation, especially overseas, can and often does enhance their net worth. Consider the physician who is self-employed. Last year, he had a net income of nearly $1 million. Dr. Edwards is an outstanding physician in part because he constantly keeps up with changes and innovations in medicine. He also writes and publishes articles related to his own work, and he is often asked to present research papers at regional, national, and international medical conventions. There are many conventions and opportunities for Dr. Edwards to lecture. He usually has several letters on his desk from different associations that want him to make a presentation at their meetings. Some even offer a modest stipend of $1,000 and pay for his lodging. He has many frequent flyer miles built up from all those trips taken in the past, enough to fly his whole family for free anywhere in the world. Given the choice of Chicago in February or Paris in May, it's no wonder that Dr. Edwards takes frequent overseas vacations. He can kill two birds with one stone. He can give his presentation, in part a cost of doing business, and he and his wife can do what about one half of the other overseas-bound millionaires do: go to Europe to purchase or invest in original art and attend antique auctions. Dr. Edwards' case is typical among multimillionaires. Only a minority of multimillionaires travel overseas for the sole purpose of vacationing. For most, there is some other issue at hand, usually a mix of business, investing, and pleasure, but not necessarily in that order. There are certain tax advantages of blending business with pleasure, but before you plan your travel overseas with tax and business benefits in mind, consult a CPA or tax attorney. There are many gray areas about blending business, pleasure, and investments in art and antiques. In general, productive people have more opportunities to accomplish this blending, and they often have their vacations subsidized. In search of the millionaires. Imagine you are a young, inexperienced market researcher who had been assigned to interview millionaires. You had a large expense account that enabled you to travel all over the world, and you found some millionaires in the places you looked. Your boss was not completely satisfied with your work. Table 9 to 6. A date with a tax expert and fundraising versus the Tonier activities. The realities of the millionaire's 12-month diary. N equals 733. You reported that you found millionaires vacationing in Paris, but your boss referred you to Table 9 to 6, showing that only 20% were vacationing in Paris last year. Then he asked if you'd visited any of the tax consultants that millionaires patronize. You didn't think of this angle because, like most people, you envision wealthy people at play on expensive vacations. You never thought of them sitting in an advisor's office working on their tax situations, but they are more than 4 times as likely to be found there than vacationing in Paris. So your boss was not at all pleased with your efforts to find millionaires who were skiing in the Alps. Only 4 in 100 did that last year. There were a lot of millionaires on that ocean cruise you took last year, but they were not a representative sample. Only 3 millionaires in 100 were aboard such cruises. Your boss suggested strongly that you find another line of work. In fact, you're in the process of being replaced. Your boss just hired a young woman who is very active in raising funds for charities. Ellen persuaded your boss to hire her because she claims that most millionaires are active in raising funds for noble causes, and she already works with many of them. As the numbers in Table 9 to 6 indicate, Ellen is correct in her assertion that extravagant consumption is out and fundraising is in among millionaires. Fundraising outpaces. A wake-up call. Is it true that the early bird catches the worm? Perhaps. But people are not robins. If becoming a millionaire was a direct function of getting up earlier than others, many school bus drivers and milkmen would be rich. Most are not millionaires. It would be too easy. Look at it another way. There are no sure things about becoming wealthy. Certain significant factors can explain variations in wealth, and probability statements can be made. But it's not possible to say with 100% certainty that John Smith or Jane Doe will become millionaires if they wake up early in the morning. At one time I did believe what my folks taught me, that waking up earlier than others would enhance my income and ultimately my net worth. Way back when, I spent many weekend hours caddying. During my first year, the caddy master had a problem. Several senior caddies complained that the caddy master was playing favorites. They told some important people at the club about the political nature of allocating caddy assignments. I'm not sure that there was a political agenda, but the caddy master was on the hot spot. Frankly, I was not much concerned. I was the youngest and least experienced 12-year-old in the caddy stable, so I was always given the bags of 2 guys who never tipped. I always ended up with Bob and Andy Ancient or some of their relatives. They were typically in their late 80s or 90s. Not only did I have to carry their bags, I also had to carry their folding seats. As a rule, it took the Ancient brothers 6 to 8 hours to play 18 holes of golf, including their 90-minute lunch. Even with many mulligans, these so-called golfers never broke 110. But the Ancient brothers act never really bothered me. I was the lowest caddy on the experience scale, and they were multimillionaires, household names in American industry. So I suspect they thought I was overpaid. But some of the older caddies hated to work for these guys. Some felt the caddy master gave the really good tippers to his relatives and to friends of his sons. To solve this problem, the club agreed to an objective method of assigning work, the first in, first out method. The caddy who arrived first each morning would be assigned to the first twosome or foursome. How simple. How very democratic. Yet how unproductive. The system didn't last very long. The better, more competitive golfers were the first to protest. In the past, they always got the best, most experienced caddies to work for them. They insisted on it. And they often employed the same caddies each time they played golf. More often than not, they were very generous in allocating tips according to their performance of the fellows who carried their bags. But there is more to being a caddy than carrying a bag. A good caddy is an instructor, consultant, coach, and motivator all in one. When the best players were hooked up with caddies who lacked these qualities, they got angry. They hated the first in, first out system. In a way, this is analogous to building wealth in America. The more productive people, whether they be caddies or attorneys, earn more than less productive ones. Just because an attorney shows up earlier than others at a court proceeding does not ensure that he'll win the case. At any rate, the caddy system based on arrival time failed big time. On the first Saturday it was introduced, I arrived at the caddy station at 7 o'clock a.m. The place was already filled with caddies. So the following Saturday, I woke up at 4 o'clock a.m. and pedaled my bike through beautiful Westchester County to the club, arriving before 5:30 a.m. But I still wasn't first in line. There were 5 or 6 fellows already standing in front of the caddy house. The really early arrivals were sleeping on the men's room floor. They'd been there since about 11 o'clock p.m. the night before. How could anyone win this contest? Was this the most productive use of anyone's time and energy? It's the same answer in regard to accumulating wealth. People who are self-made millionaires had to figure out a way to become financially independent. They selected a vocation that rewarded them for being productive during the hours that they work. In essence, it's not what time people start their workday or get up in the morning that makes them financially successful. It's how productive they are during the working hours that counts. Are the best prepared, most knowledgeable, most productive teachers and professors paid more than the less productive ones? Not usually. Only in the most competitive colleges and universities are the most productive faculty members rewarded for their superior performances. In other schools, it's just a matter of how many hours, days, years a professor has been a member of the faculty. A first-in mentality is not tolerated by ambitious and productive people. Seniority should only be relevant when objective performance measures are given most of the weight in allocating economic resources. Without such incentives, the productive people will move on or become less productive. Those who remain are the people who watch clocks and calendars. So what if they were hired first yet produce little? What does this have to do with becoming wealthy in America? If you work in an environment that rewards performance,